All right, here we are in front of 4821 King Solomon, and they're just finishing up their showing right here. We're going to do our exterior walk around. It is raining, so it's going to be kind of loud. I'm wearing my rain boots, and I got my umbrella, and here we go. So you can see here it has a brick front. Looks like siding on the sides. Good downspout drain directed away from the foundation. Good morning. Beautiful landscaping here. It's been trimmed back away from the house, which is always a good sign. That looks like the nice, expensive kind of siding, not vinyl siding. I think they call it hardy board. That's a good sign too. We have some hostas here, another downspout drain, little room back here. So some of these things, you know, I'm not sure exactly what it is. We'll peek at once we get inside. This lot is not fenced and it's not huge. But there is a lot of side yard, it looks like. And then depending on exactly where the property line is here, which I couldn't estimate at the moment, there's some grass space over here, you know, for a little play structure if you wanted one. Beautiful deck. I see big supports on the deck. Looks like it was appropriately built. Always a good sign. Back here we have some utilities. Let's see. So you have a good space here, and there's a bit of a slope, but it slopes away from the house. So that's good for, you know, water mitigation and whatnot. You want the water to slope away from the house. Here we have downspout drains. Oh man, they nailed the downspout drains. I tell you, that comes up on basically every inspection. That one could be extended a little bit out to get it further away from the foundation. But that's like a $7 thing at Home Depot. So here we go, air handler. Mid-age, I would say. That's for an inspector, of course, not for me, but I would say it's kind of mid-age. It's not new, it's not old. Down here, we have, you know, we'd want to repaint that a little bit. We want to keep that stuff painted. But in general, everything looks really good out here. It looks like it's been maintained. I don't see any signs of wet or rotting wood or anything. Attic window up there, or not window, but vent. Which is here. Let's take a look. What else do we see? So this is a one-car driveway and a one-car garage. So a bit of a trade-off there. That's really common in these old houses. I know we've looked at quite a few. So some of the other ones all across the street, you know, they've got two cars. But this is a one-car. So trade-off here, you have to park on the street, which a lot of people do anyway. That's pretty common. So when you see cars on the street in these neighborhoods, it's not because like 10 families live in a house, but because one car driveways were a thing. So here's our exterior shot, and we're gonna go inside, check it out. All right, here we are in King Solomon. I am right in the entryway. So this is a split foyer. So you come in, you have a bit of a landing here. You'd have room for a little shoe cabinet here, or here, or, you know, wherever you want to have it. And then you either go down or you go up. So I brought my boyfriend with me today. He is really good at home condition stuff too. So we thought, since you guys like this one, let's go ahead and get a couple eyes on it. So the paint's in pretty good condition, I would say. You know, it's a used house, right? So not everything's going to be new. There's a few scuffs here and whatnot, but overall the paint condition is pretty good. The sellers did not do certain kind of updates like these. You know, these are older switches. They don't match. Missing screws. You know, there are going to be some little things like this in the house that, you know, you could fix over time. It's really easy to change these. But some of those things I'll point out as we go. So we're up here in the upper hallway, and here is the front living room. So it's kind of overcast and rainy today, so we're not going to see as much natural light as we would on a sunny day, but those windows get a pretty good amount of light. Let's take a look at the windows. They are vinyl inserts. They don't look that old. They're definitely not the original wood windows. They appear to be double hung, so, you know, you can open down or from up. You would just slide the screen up. So not original windows. That's a big plus because windows cost a lot of money. The floors in here, this is the original hardwoods. They are shiny, and they have been, you know, sun exposure can kind of change. There's a couple spots here where they probably had a cabinet here. And so what happened was the UV rays amber this wood floor, the amber, the polyurethane that's used. A lot of people go to water-based finish now, so that doesn't happen. But, that can happen over time. So it's not damage to the floor. It's just because they probably had something here. So the easiest way, for you to do that would be to put something here also. But the floors are in really good shape. I don't see scratches. I don't see places where the poly has worn off. This is one of the better floors I've seen actually in a while. So this was probably refinished not that long ago. They probably didn't have a ton of kids and pets and heavy wear on the floors. So that's nice. So you're going to see some discoloration here too. It's more obvious in the camera than it is in person. I can see looking at my phone. It looks very pronounced. Here in person, there is a color shift. Again, that's UV. This is because this was exposed to sun and this was not. So they likely had a rug there. Let's go ahead and peek on this rug too and see if that was the same thing here. So I can't lift this rug quite as much. I don't see the color shift in here yet, but oh, there we go. See, that's why I bring my boyfriend. No, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it here. So I think this is probably fine. We saw it over here and over here. So that's going to be something that you're going to, we're going to see that happens. So you'd have a rug underneath your dining table. This is a great dining space here. You could go a little bit longer on the table if your table was a little bit larger. You could go a little bit wider, especially if you didn't have this here. So we have our path of travel here. And this table is a good size for that space. You could go a little bit larger on the table, especially if your chairs were a little bit lower profile. These are very large dining chairs. You do have the 2 windows back there. Dated light fixture here, but $100 at Home Depot, no big deal. Windows look good. I don't see any signs of broken seals or anything yucky. The screens are in good condition. Again, these are double hung vinyl windows. So let's head into the kitchen. All right, so kitchen. Oh, we have cute little pantry here. Oh, and it's got space for like your broom or vacuum. That's nice. Or you could put in more shelves, but that's kind of nice. So these are likely original painted cabinets, if I had to take a guess. They're in pretty good shape. There's a couple spots here. They probably had something hanging here. Probably right here. Maybe it kind of got stuck over time. So, and then, we're going to see the older light switches and knobs and whatnot. They all seem to function. I've been turning the lights on. So this is an interesting kitchen where they have put in some additional storage up here, but it slides open. Maybe I'll ask Alex to slide one of those open for me. I don't think I could reach. Just so we can see. Can you? What's up there? Ooh, okay. So we have extra storage. So they're painted the same color as the cabinet. So it's definitely different. And I actually didn't even notice it when I first walked in. So it's not a tremendous eyesore. It is more storage. And that's something you could change if you wanted to over the years. But you'd probably appreciate that extra storage here. So cabinets, let's take a look. They've been cleaned. They were painted probably a little while ago, not painted for sale. So this has an electric range, and this is a laminate counter. So that would be kind of one of the downsides for sure. And this laminate counter has seen somewhere. This is not a new counter. If you guys are handy, it's pretty easy to cover laminate. I could send you a video link for that. If you're not handy, of course, you have to pay to have it done, but it's actually pretty easy to do. You don't need a lot of tools. So the kitchen is a pretty good sized kitchen. You'd have a lot of workspace right here. So this is probably where your main workspace would be. You got your dirty dishes, clean dishes over there. And then this would be your workspace. And you could put a stool here maybe. I'm not sure. You could put a little shelf with your seasonings or your cookbooks or something there. I'm not sure exactly how we'd use that. It's kind of a weird place to have a breakfast bar. But you could if you wanted to. And the laminate over here is in beautiful condition. This looks very good. There's no signs of wear or scratching or anything on this part. It's only this section over here where I have the white spots. Little nook here. There's no outlet, so it wouldn't work for a beverage cooler without modification. But, Yeah, you could put something there. Cabinets here. This is likely where the microwave would go. So you would put your microwave there and then plug it in. And then they probably had some shelves here. So that would be cute too if you put in some like wood shelves. That'd be nice. It'd warm up the kitchen a bit. The floor is the same color throughout the house so far. The entryway looks a little bit, well, actually, let me take it back. I take it back. Okay, so the kitchen has a different floor. So we have this over here, and then this was likely refloored at some point. So they're wood, they're close. It's not obnoxious. This floor continues out into here. So maybe this was refloored when this was put on. So this is a beautiful addition here. It's another kind of living room. You have the beautiful bay window, big windows there. Those windows do open. So if it's a, beautiful spring day, there's a ceiling fan. And then we have this is a large slider. This is probably 8 feet. Walks out to the deck here. So there's one board kind of astray out there. I don't know if that was broken on purpose or on accident. But, one thing to look at for sure. It doesn't look hugely damaged. The rest of the wood looks like it's in pretty good condition. It could use a reseal based on how much water it's absorbing at the moment, but that's pretty common. You have to reseal these every couple of years for best use. Siding out here is in pretty good shape. All right, so they have this room set up as like an additional seating room. You could use it as an eat-in kitchen. You could use this as the dining room. I mean, you could, this is a very flexible space that you could do a lot with. It says the high ceiling does have recessed lighting in there. All right, so let's keep going. I'm spending a little bit more time here than in some because I know you said you guys like this one, so I want to make sure I show you everything. It's a bit dated here, but it's in good shape. It looks like a couple of the light bulbs are out. Those are easy to change. All right, so up here, when you come up the stairs, you have a coat closet. And there's a coax cable in there. That was something they did in the old houses. Coax cable everywhere. And this would be the hallway linen closet. So you could put one more shelf in here, it looks like. And we will go to the hallway bathroom. Is very nice. This is granite. This is a nice cabinet with some glass doors. These look brand new. So you have a little bit of a medicine cabinet here for some extra storage. Nice bright lights, towel bar, toilet paper holder. This was done recently. Beautifully tiled shower here with a nice niche and a curved shower curtain. Yeah, this looks very nice. The bathroom is very nice. They did a nice job styling the cabinets and the floor and the tile match very well. It's very pretty. So, okay, so we're in the hallway, right? So there's the entryway. We come up here, you got coat closet, linen closet. So then we're in the hallway bathroom, and then we're going to go here, and then here's the first bedroom. So this is the smallest bedroom up here. I mean, it's perfectly sized for a child. Might be tight for 2 kids, but it would be totally fine for 1 kid. You could have a twin bed, you could have a dresser and a desk. The closet has some nice built-ins for hanging space and then shelving. So very nice. The floor is all one color in here. There's no color change from area rugs or anything like that. And I know that is a bummer, but it does happen over time when you use a polyurethane on the floor. So these switches are nice because they control the fan and the light separately. So that's a really nice feature. That's a premium feature. This is a larger bedroom up here, the corner bedroom. 2 beautiful windows. Very cool. Sliding glass door. Closet here with the hanging bar. This again has a light and a fan. And these are slightly older fans, but that's a really good, Hampton Bay makes really good fans. Those last a long time. And again, they have the fancy switch where you can control them separately, which is really nice. And then, there's a few little things like this very painted over light switch here. My house came with a few of those. So in here we have what is the primary bedroom. It is larger than the other bedrooms. It's not huge. Okay, so it's not huge. It's not as big as in a newer floor plan, but it is definitely large enough for a king bed, some nightstands, a dresser, and whatnot. So small primary bathroom. I think, you would have known that from the listing. That's kind of the trade-off on some of these older ones. It's been halfway updated, I would say. It looks pretty good. The shower insert is nice. It feels big. It's got tile back there. Let's check out the grout. The grout looks pretty good. Okay, so it's ready for a recaulking, right? So we would kind of remove that old caulk that yellows over time, and then we would recaulk. But it looks like it's in pretty good shape. That looks a little bit corroded up there, so there might be some hard water in the house. There shouldn't be. This is city water, and our water here is not hard. Could just be a really old faucet. That can be hard to know. But the tile is in good condition. I don't see any concave tiles or anything that suggests any water damage or anything like that. It just needs to be recaulked as showers do over time. So dated light fixture in here, but you do have GFCI, so that's good. And then the closet is lovely. Nice walk-in closet here. Pretty light, actually. It's probably original, but it's actually kind of cool. It's like vintage cool. It's not like, 90s dated. It's like 60s dated, which is cooler. And you have a trapdoor on the floor, and I'm totally going to open it. Oh, maybe I'm not. Hang on. Okay, well, I'm not going to open it because it's been almost painted shut. Maybe I'll ask Alex to open it. I am kind of curious what's in the trapdoor in the floor. So we'll see. Stand by on that one. That's to be continued. This, I don't know if this is painted wallpaper or if these are like peel and stick. Oh, I think it was like someone did a diagonal slat wall and thought that was cool and then changed their minds. So not sure. It's subtle. It's painted the same color. It's like the color drench thing, I think it looks nice. It's a little bit of a subtle texture. It's not obnoxious. So, all right, let's check out the basement. Okay, so we're going to walk down here. So then we will come down here. So here's the landing. And so, all right, the first thing we see is a cord. So this is something you'd plug into. Hard to know what someone would be using that for. I don't know if they had like a lamp in here maybe, or, I don't know. You could take that off. So these are just stapled. You just pull it. No big deal. I'm not sure what that would have been for. Maybe leave it, you could leave it until you figured out why someone would want it. Okay, so lights here. I did not have luck turning the lights on. Hopefully that's not what the cord is for. Yeah, it's crazy. So here's the extension. Hard to imagine what that would have been for. So down here we have kind of like a rec room space. This is big. This is a big space. This is definitely large enough to have two zones if you wanted to have two zones, play area for the little kids, TV area, there's enough room for both of those things to happen here. I apologize that I can't turn the lights on. I'm not sure what that is. So it looks like there used to be a door here into this hallway, has been removed. It might be somewhere else, but here is the hallway bath, which is very nice. Granite countertop, pretty modern cabinetry here. It is green, but there's not a lot of wall to paint if you wanted to paint it. You can tell they caulked here, which is correct. That's good, especially in a bathroom. So it was probably done properly, always a good sign. You can see there that the drain is recessed a little bit, which is correct because then the water will actually drain. These floors aren't flat, they're sloped intentionally. So that's good. It was tiled correctly. Beautiful subway tiles in here. The grout is in good shape. Could use a little bit of cleaning here. White grout's really hard. Anyone who's cleaned a shower knows that. But they did use gray grout on the floor, which is a solid choice. So you got some beadboard. Yeah, this is a great full bathroom downstairs, which is really nice. Let's see what we have through here. Okay, so some of the lights are not turning on. I wonder if there's maybe a fuse. I'm not going to have Alex do that because that's, we don't do that. But I do wonder if maybe a fuse was blown or something. There's these two lights and they're near each other, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're on the same fuse. He'll probably go look at the electrical panel and we can see. In here, this is a huge room down here. This is very nice. So this floor down here is an LVP. It was laid in an H pattern, which you're not really supposed to do, but it feels flat. It feels secure, stable. It feels like it was installed well. We have big closet in here. Let's see. Sorry, you have to stare at my reflection here. Oh yeah, we got some shelving here. So this is a great space. This is, this room would be large enough for 2 children to share if that was something that you wanted to do. Nice new 6-panel doors. And then this is probably like a little closet. Oh yeah, very cool. Linen closet down here. It does feel a little bit like a basement over in this part. Not in the front part where there's windows, there's windows there and then there's windows in here. And then this over here, like this one light is not a lot of light for this hallway. It does feel very much like a basement. Not a criticism, just, since you're not here. And garage. So this is a good garage space here. Oh, yes.
Oiling.
Oil heat. Probably, yeah. So, okay, that would be in the MLS. Sean can look more into that if that's a thing. So there's the electrical panel. Let's take a look and see how old it looks. It does look kind of old. Okay, so it's not super old. It doesn't have like knob and tube or anything. It's probably old telephone stuff. Here, we have cinder blocks. They look pretty good. I don't see a lot of the, what is it, effervescence, efflorescence. It's this really complicated word of like when cinder block sweats from moisture. It makes this like white powder, and you can see a little bit of it. It does happen over time. That's not alarming. When you have a lot of it is when it's a problem. So this looks pretty good. And here again, these are things for the inspector. I'm just giving you the kind of quick glance over here. But in there, will you check and see if a fuse is blown? Some of those lights don't. Okay, all the fuses were good. Never mind. So okay, could be dead light bulbs. We're not sure on that. So just as a note, he did check the fuses. So nothing's blown, so I'm not sure why. All right, so in here we have utility space. So, it's not the most luxurious laundry room, but you could, you could zhuzh this up and make it really nice. Washer dryer, you do have, this is like a brand new utility sink, which is really nice. This is draining if need be. That's good. That's a good setup in case it overflows. Condensation, like that's what you want. Let's see the water heater here. So sometimes they have a year or a date when they were installed. I don't see anything on this one. It is clean. It's just the, the normal amount of dusty. It does appear to have proper shut-off valves attached. This has, emergency switch. That is correct. This was serviced in late 2024. So I don't know exactly when it was installed. In 18 probably would be my guess. That'd be that first one up here. So I couldn't guarantee that. Sometimes people put over stickers and stuff, but that would be my guess. So you have some more shelving down here. This looks clean and well maintained. I don't know much about that type of oil furnace, so that's something that we'd want to ask someone more experienced about. But this room itself looks nice. So I don't see anything unusual down here. Yeah. So this is the part where it kind of feels more like a basement, whereas over here, it just feels more, and I got, oh, okay. So okay. So these lights were not switch connected. So these lights over here are kind of plugged in that outlet there. And there's something wrong with the outlet. So, something for the inspection. Okay, so that's, good to know. This is an older house, and I can tell you from owning an older house that it's very difficult to add overhead lighting to a basement or a lower level where there's a finished level on top and you can't access. You have to like cut holes in the drywall. Like it's a very difficult process. So a lot of people will skip it and add lighting in this way. So by itself, that's not anything alarming. Just one of the many challenges of an older home. So here we go. This is kind of like a painted wallpaper here, but it looks pretty good. It's painted the same color. And they did like, this is more of a matte and this is more glossy, but in the same color, which is the commonly accepted way to paint a room. So, because then you can wipe down the trim a lot easier. So yeah, we'll do one more quick pan up and then this video is super long, so I'll end it here, but we'll just come up here. I wanted to take a look, really super thoroughly to get you a good idea if this one was going to be a contender. This is a great neighborhood. We've seen basketball hoops and tree swings and, no one's out playing today because it's raining, but this is just gorgeous. Like, oh my goodness. Can you imagine like walking up the stairs and into this kitchen, and then you just have this beautiful space here with the trees. Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, so one more note that Alex notices that that sidewalk kind of right out there, I'm kind of pointing at it with my finger, it connects to the Long Branch Trail. So there's a beautiful trail system that runs through Wakefield. That's one of the most amazing parts of Wakefield for kids on bikes, runners, whatever you're into. And that Long Branch Trail connects you to a lot of the other trails within Fairfax County, especially in this area, and parks and just really cool things. So that's a nice benefit too.